so many situations now where it just seems like common sense just isn't there. I mean, I guess common sense is really just not that common, but really it's just common sense, you know. And if if you and your wife have your own rules about how you guys want to go about that, I think that's great. But for me, it's just common sense.
Yeah.
I don't.
You're right. There's a difference between, like, even though booze is involved, you're not at a bar. You're
Right.
at a networking event.
Yes. Absolutely. And it's funny. I was at an event last week, and there was someone there that was talking about when you enter a room, when you're introducing yourself to people, what should you be doing to make it easy for the other person? And one of the things that she said was, put your name tag easily where people can just easily see it on you, right? Well, as a woman, that's something that you have to be a little bit careful. Placement, right?
A little more creative.
You have to be a little bit more creative. And I kind of I brought up the point that, yes, I understand what you're saying, that's where your name tag could go. But in certain situations, your name tag right there is not always invites interesting comments. So even then, I mean, it's just little things, right? Like, you would think that maybe my name tag is there on my chest, but maybe, like, don't try to look down my shirt, right? Common sense, right?
Yeah, that would be a good thing. I completely agree with that.
So I tend to put my name tag on, lower, not anywhere near that area.
You put it lower?
Well,
like
no.
On your hip or something?
No. It's like on my purse or something, right? Like,
does that ever cross your mind when you go into an event that what you're wearing and the placement of your name tag might cause, people to be uncomfortable, or maybe even yourself?
Yeah. I don't even want to, I try not to put myself in those positions, right? So if I can not put my name tag basically on my chest, then I'm not going to put it there.
Well, I like your hat. You could put your name tag on your hat.
Actually, this is my networking hat. This hat, it makes it really easy for people to see me when I'm, at an event. So meeting new people there, I just say, hey, I'll be there. I'll be wearing a fedora. I'll be the short Asian girl with a fedora. Come find me.
Pretty rare. Hard to compete with that. I mean, because there's just maybe you and Jenny, and that would be about it. So not a whole lot of people in Austin that fit that description.
Jenny and I have been mistaken for each other, and we don't actually look anything alike. But
so I know that you've had situations where there have been libations. Your networking, it becomes very late, 11 o'clock, even midnight. You're still at the networking event, and guys are not necessarily they're not very gentlemanly towards you. Yeah, they're not on their best behavior. Give us some stories.
You want stories?
Yeah, because I know you've got one or two at least really good ones, and just kind of and frame it in the context of, here, this is something you shouldn't do, and John and I, maybe the three of us will have a conversation about maybe best practices and some things to think about before going out there.
Are you saying, Joey, that you and I should vote on whether or not this is something you should do? Is that how you're saying?
No, I'm saying we should come up with some suggestions.
That I'm about to give you is pretty blatant. So I really hope that both of you vote no, you shouldn't go do this. So I tend to arrive early at networking events and kind of position myself by the door, so I kind of get first dibs at everyone that comes in, right? But I also tend to stay later because I want to be able to meet as many people as possible. And a couple of weeks ago, I was at a networking event, and I was having a great conversation with someone. It seemed like, from a business perspective, we were going to be able to be helpful towards each other. And we were leaving at the same time, but he kind of started, like, we were no longer talking, like we had parted ways. Then he started to kind of follow me to my car.
Not cool. Not cool.
I was trying to get in my car, and he grabbed the door and was still trying to continue to talk to me, and I was like, I'm gonna squish your fingers now. I have to go. So don't follow the ladies to their cars and be creepy. Like maybe don't do that. Pretty blatant, right? Right?
Okay. Rule number 1: don't be creepy.
Okay,
Rule number 2: don't be creepy.
Well, here's the thing. So clearly, from what I can tell, creepy is not a universally defined word, right? So I can say don't be creepy. You can say don't be creepy, but our versions of creepy may not be the same version of creepy. Right?
I think following a woman to her car after a networking event is pretty creepy. I think most people would generally agree, unless you invited him to come to the car with you. But I know you wouldn't do that. That wasn't me, was it? No, it wasn't me.
It wasn't you. Well, so here's the thing. I mean, it was creepy because we had already parted ways. It was creepy because we had already said goodbye. And, I kind of, at first I thought, well, maybe he forgot that his car was this way and not the other way. And
was he following you, like, from 8 feet behind or something?
Yeah, but he progressively, was speeding up. So that part was creepy. That's when it started to get creepy. Grabbing my car door is a little creepy.
A little.
So I guess the question is, what is the definition of creepy? Where is that line? Because it seems like a lot of people, I perceive it as creepy, but they perceive it as being, only a little forward, right?
And how do you communicate that to people?
I tell them, please go away, or I just leave. I say, okay, well, I'm going to go to the bathroom, bye.
Yeah.
So, okay.
And never come out?
Well, this brings me to this point where when I wrote that blog post that Joey was originally talking about, a lot of women actually got mad at me, saying that I had not done enough in those situations. And, when I'm at a networking event, when you're a woman at a network, or when you're a person at a networking event, you're going for a reason. You're going for a business reason, right? And to me, networking means you're making professional business friends on purpose, right? You're still trying to build a relationship. And, a lot of women, when I wrote that blog post, got a little miffed at me because I didn't make a scene during that point in time when something creepy happened, or, And to me, I mean, I understand why they were bothered by that, but I'm not going to get into an altercation with someone at a networking event so that no one else talks to me. Like I still have things I want to accomplish at the networking event. So
right. You don't want to be labeled as that person.
Well, it's not even being labeled as that person. It's that I have things to do at that networking event, and if you decide you want to be creepy, I can just no longer talk to you. I just know not to come back over there, right?
So what do you do? And there's got to be. I know you network still pretty regularly, and you maybe not as aggressively as you did in 2010, 2011, but. What do you do when you go to a networking event and there's the creepy guy you've seen and you try to avoid forever? Like what strategy, what tactics, what techniques do you use to avoid the creepy guy?
Well, I mean, I just, I basically make note of where they are, but my focus is really still meeting other people, and it's not something that I stay conscious about. Now, if they, it's if they come back towards me and continue to be creepy, that's when I have to deal with it. But ultimately, I try not to focus on them because, again, they're not my focus.
Have they ever come back to you and apologize and tried to make up and make friends with you?
That's adorable, Joey.
Have they ever come in I was really a creep that last time when I followed you to your car, but can we be friends? Have they ever done that?
Negative.
Oh, that's too bad.
That has never happened.
Hey, I just noticed that we've got someone listening to us live. So, Paul, if you want to chat with us, you can ask a question.
Get out. We have a listener?
We do. We have a listener. Anyway, go ahead. We'll see if Paul has any comments for it. Maybe he was a creepy person. I don't know.
Well, it's funny because when I wrote that blog post, I did have a few guy friends that say, "Hey, I'm not one of those people, right? Like I have not been creepy towards you, right?" And
were any of them the creepy ones?
And usually it's those guys that ask are the ones that are more conscious about it. So no, they were not of the creepier variety. And honestly, in the female circle and in the professional world, we run into the same people. So if there is, a bit of a creeper, there are people that have that reputation, and lots of the girls know about it.
Yeah, word gets around.
Stay away from Fred.
No worries, Joey, about those people.
Yeah. Well, I might find that, okay, so let's take this and shift it to the male perspective. There's people who I'm not feeling uncomfortable because of my sexuality. There's some very smart people in this town. There's smart people in every town. They just lack sort of the ability to communicate on a human level. They don't have any personal.
You mean the social finesse?
Yes, the social finesse. We'll talk about social lube in a minute, but they don't know how to. They don't know how to really. I mean, it's what I find that really offends me is that they tend to look down on me or talk down on me, and I'm there to network. Yeah, I might be there for a business purpose, but I don't know you from Adam. I want to get to know you before I decide if there's even potential to do business with you. And there's people I've known for years in this town. I can't even carry a conversation with them because they look down their nose at me, even though they're the same height, and I kind of just feel really uncomfortable around them. And it's hard for me to, I see them, I turn around at an event and walk away after ending a conversation, and they're right there standing behind me, and I put up my hand, I smile, and I kind of move on. But what do you do in a situation like that?
Oh, when people are just a little bit snooty, you mean, or?
Yeah, they just kind of lack the social finesses, or they just, or they even have poor communication skills, but they keep going to the networking events.
I mean, to me, my social rule is always, as long as you are nice and kind, or respectful towards me, right? You actually don't even have to be kind; you just have to be respectful. I will treat you the way you just treated me. So even if they are super awkward, that's cool. People are awkward. Whatevs, I say awkward things sometimes. Right? And so usually when someone says something awkward, I just brush it off. I know what they mean to say. Maybe that wasn't the best grouping of words to put into a sentence, right? But you try, and then if it gets too awkward, then it gets too awkward, then you say bye. No.
So Katrina, what are you doing now? So what's your business? What do you do?
So my company now is focused on hospitality, and in hospitality, we're working with lots of bar owners, restaurant owners, people that invest in those businesses, venues, hotels, and it's definitely that what we're talking about definitely happens more in that industry, and it's in the upper echelons of that industry. There's definitely more men than women.
Understood.
So that's this stuff still happens. Actually, Joey, was it you that was telling? I had a coffee meeting a few weeks ago, and it was going well, and then he asked me to be his mistress, and I was like, I should. Thank you for asking. I have to go now. Goodbye.
That is bizarre.
Yeah, lots of bizarre things, and I don't know. I've talked to lots of girlfriends about this, and I ask myself sometimes, like, am I doing something, or am I, I know I don't dress you know, overly provocative or anything like that, you know. So I know I'm friendly, but you can't help but kind of, you know, turn that inward, right? When those things are going on. And I don't actually think that I'm doing anything wrong or anything. It's just that it does make you reflect on your own behavior as well when those things happen. So that part, you know, that part sometimes can be a little bit difficult, but you know, life goes on. I have things I want to do, so you know.
Right. So the rule is that networking events are not a dating venue unless you take it to a one-on-one, for example, and
I actually did meet that person at a networking event, and we went for a coffee meeting.
And then that was where he asked you to be his friend.
Yeah. Yeah.
Well, at least he was polite and he asked. You know, I mean, I'm glad to know that he didn't just assume. You know, he went ahead and asked you. So
I want to just try and picture how this looks. So, Katrina, I've been thinking, and I was wondering if you wouldn't mind being my housekeeper.
No, actually, he started with, well, you know, I'm just looking for people that are really discreet. And when he kept saying it over and over, and I was just thinking, where is this going? Like, why? Like, do you need a lawyer? Like, I don't understand. Like, what's happening? And then he eventually got around to asking, and I was like, okay, well, this means I have to go now.
Did any of the relationship stuff come up? Like, so are you seeing anybody? I mean,
well, he was talking about his wife and kids right before that. So.
Oh, that's weird.
Yeah, so that got really awkward, and I got up and left. It's clearly we are not there for the same reason. And I have heard from a few girlfriends lately that they feel like LinkedIn has kind of turned into a bit of a dating website.
Interesting.
Yeah, do you guys know of any single male friends that use that as an avenue for dating?
Not personally, but hey, guys, if you're watching this and you're using LinkedIn as a dating site, definitely let us know. John, you might want to keep tabs on your son and his LinkedIn activity.
Yeah, if all of a sudden if John David starts becoming an avid LinkedIn user at 17, I'll probably know there's something going on.
Well, the unfortunate thing about that is that you may read a message from someone asking for a legitimate business reason, right? And you look at their profile, and you look at what they've done, and you look at their recommendations, and maybe a couple of the same people, and so you kind of check them out and see if this is someone that you want to meet, right? And you can do all those things, right? And you can think it's totally, yeah, you guys are on the same page. But you can also think all those things and show up to a coffee meeting and it take a hard turn to the left. So
LinkedIn is not Match.com.
No, but it's a lot cheaper. So Katrina, I've known you for a while, and I think you have an essence about you that's sort of fun-loving, and I think a lot of that could be construed as you kind of flirting with guys. And I've had a lot of friends that are like you, so of course I never mistook that, but I could see how some guys who don't know how to read that can see that.
I understand that, but I am sending, anytime I think that it's gonna go down that road, I bring up my relationship, that we live together.
5 years.
There are cues, maybe I have a ring I wear. I mean, I put out all the cues. I don't know what else to do.
Have you ever had to rescue a friend that you saw was talking to a creep or was talking to somebody and you could kind of overhear the conversation going the wrong way? And
oh yeah, for sure. Like, oh my God, you need to come right now. I have to show you something.
That's why ladies go to the bathroom together a lot.
Yes, and like I need assistance in the restroom. I don't know. It doesn't matter what the excuse is.
That's why guys never go to the bathroom together, John, because we don't have to save.
we don't have to save guys. Hey man, can you leave?
Hey, Peter, man, come here. I think this girl's
Okay,
making
well let me
advances of you.
turn
I
it
think
on you.
this girl's hitting on you.
Let me turn it on you guys. Have you guys, either been to a networking event where someone did something inappropriate to you, or you felt like the other person may be misconstruing your intentions, and how you handle that?
Yeah. John, you
Tell
go
me.
first.
No, so my answer is actually pretty simple, no. But that's more a reflection of that I'm ugly and like no one would hit on me. So
I am not. I am not about. Are you fishing?
John's kidding. He's actually very attractive, and he's a lot of fun to hang around with at events. And he's quite outspoken. And just look at that.
there you go.
Beaming
Look at that great
smile.
smile.
He's got great hair, too. He's not got any of this.
No, I see. I've
Right
got
here.
my balding spot.
Oh, yeah,
Okay.
it's in the back of you, but you hide it
Yes.
well.
So that's why I bring my kids around. So I bring my kids with me, and that solves a lot of the problems. At least that's
Yeah.
what my wife demands of me, anyway.
Yeah. I have had the luxury of networking as a single man, and so I've had I was always very
You met your wife at a networking event, didn't you?
no, that's a story for another day. But
In trouble.
no, it's just I'll talk about it another day. Come on, give me a break. So but I used to head an event in California that I did on a weekly basis. It was a weekly networking event for business professionals, and there was a woman that started coming around, and she propositioned me, and then we dated for like 2 months. So I mean, I have been on that side of it, but I was very aware when I was on for business purposes, and I knew what I was there for, and I wasn't about fooling around or making it about finding a date. But I know a lot of people who have met either their boyfriend, girlfriend, or spouse at out networking, because you meet a lot of people, and if you click and hit it off, and they're in the right place and you're in the right place, I think it's, you talked a minute ago about you have a ring, and if you kind of sense it's going that way, you start talking about your boyfriend and how good your relationship is, and I think that that's kind of key, is you just sort of have to listen and be in tune to what it is that's going on around you, so that you can sort of prevent or have a preemptive strike to avoid having any uncomfortable situations come up because you didn't do it and you knew you should.
So what is the right way? Like, hypothetically, if you are in that situation and you are meeting someone, you're both clicking, it seems like you guys, are having a good time, and you do want to ask him out. Like, how do you, is there the best course of action to do that? Is there, like, what's the protocol, right?
So if you're a woman and you want to approach a guy and you met him in a business context?
So let's say, I mean, you're just trying to meet this person, right? And you want to go on a date with them, right? Mm-hmm. So the non-creepy thing to do, obviously, is first ask if they're single, right?
Sure. Yeah.
And the second thing is to just say, hey, I would, love to spend time and get to know you outside of this networking event, right?
Are you giving tips? Is this what you're doing? Maybe we should ask her. Maybe this is one of those questions, because I'm not about to touch this question with a 10-foot pole. But maybe we can ask our listeners what they think.
I mean, I want to know, the ladies, what is the non-creepy approach, right?
Well, I know for me that it's, be my friend.
Right.
If you're talking business, right? I meet a woman and she's, I'm not married. Let's assume I'm not me, right? If this was, obviously, if somebody says, "Tell me about yourself," I'm going to talk about my wife and my kid, right? I'm going to talk about that stuff because that's about me. That's what matters to me. But if I'm not me and I'm single and they say, "Tell me about yourself," and I start talking about things and I don't bring up the girlfriend or whatever if I don't have one, then that's an opportunity for them to ask a little bit more. Well, what movies do you like? And what have you seen lately? And what television shows? What music do you listen to? And if we click on, if I mention a band or I mention that I love music and I'm going to ACL, and they say I love music and I'm going to ACL, then it's an opportunity to say, well, let's go listen to music together. And then if it's their friends with them and my friends with me, and we end up meshing the two friends together. I mean, it's just people are in such a hurry these days to go, well, I just met this person I find them attractive. So obviously we've got to go be in some kind of relationship.
Where are you going?
Take your time, right? I mean, you just get to know the person. This isn't rocket science or anything. I always find that I was I was terrible at. I was the slowest. Girl would like me, and I would know it for weeks, and I still wouldn't make a move because I had to they had to literally attack me in order for me to know, and or have the confidence, and so just be patient with it. Just take your time, and my wife will tell you if I can ever drag her on the show, she'll tell you she had to make the first move because that's how slow I am, and I don't get guys that are getting right to closing the deal, especially in relationship situations. I understand it in business, but in relationships, it's like, come on, why are you in such a big hurry?
Right. Plus, there's lots of internet snooping you can do if you want to be creepy behind the scenes.
Right. Like LinkedIn.
Like LinkedIn.
Well, I do want to hear from other ladies about, if they are in that situation and, someone is asking, like, what's the best way for a guy to approach that, right? Because, like, maybe that's part of the problem. Is like if the other person is interested in you, how do they do it without being a total creeper?
And I think that's a great place to end, John. I think we should let that question hang out there, and hopefully some people will answer it. Of the 5 people that are watching this or listening to it on iTunes or Stitcher,
that's right,
or our
who
website,
aren't married,
who are
not married.
Yeah, we're not married. Please leave a comment. You can shoot us a tweet, or you can send us a post on Facebook. You can get a hold of Katrina. Katrina, tell our audience how they can get a hold of you.
Okay, so my new company website is not up yet, but our Facebook page is up. Our company is called Mix It LLC, and on Twitter I am @RealAustin, and feel free to connect with me there and ask me more questions, or have coffee, or eat burgers with me, or barbecue. I like barbecue too.
And 4 donuts in 14 seconds.
Yes.
I had video of the first donut.
Yeah. Joey does have video, so that's a fact.
All right. Well, hey, thanks for coming on the show. We appreciate it, and thanks for telling us 10 things you should never say or do to a woman at a networking event.
Have fun with that.
Yeah, we will.
Thanks, guys. I appreciate you.
Thanks, Katrina. Bye.
Bye.
See you. We're out. It still says live, John.
There we go.
For real skis.
Yeah. Now we're going to really record it. That was a good drive.